I have my questions about Ian Carroll. There's a lot of people out there, making statements like, oh, how did he rise up to popularity so fast? Sometimes some people get that lightning in the bottle and get all the figgy pudding. Sometimes it is what it is. But he was recently on Candace Owens' show and how free speech is under attack in America. We've been talking about that for quite some time here, folks. We have been talking about free speech for quite some time here on our channel, on our little channel here, okay? And free speech is definitely, yes, has been under attack for quite some time in the USA, okay? Maybe it's because I'm a war veteran in the trenches about having Harlan's media being censored, suppressed, shadow banned, demonetized, terminated, and all the stuff in between. Because, going through these trenches, it's pretty rough. And it affects you in the head. It makes you go crazy. And also, when my audience tells me, oh, hey, I can't comment on your channel. Why are my comments being deleted? Why is YouTube not notifying me when you go live? I mean, these are things that really enrage me, because I want all of my subscribers to know when we go live and when we upload content on all of our platforms. I want all of you to know that. So is free speech under attack in America? The answer is yes. Shockingly, yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. I mean, yes, it is under attack. This isn't open for a debate here. This is an actual fact. So let's go ahead and pull this video up here.
And then when the Israel-Palestine thing happened, you were very clear about your position on this. And obviously, when Elon Musk and you got into that back forth, things hit another level, because you were so sensible about speaking about why it is that Americans would not feel allegiance to Israel, which is our right. It is so weird that they think that they're going to try to psychologically convince us that we have no right to not support a foreign nation by calling everybody anti-Semitic.
And then
so to watch them do,
laws.
and then, we're just going to pass censorship laws. We're 350 million of you are just not going to be able to say anything bad about Israel.
All you people that think that Jews control the world, you know what we'll do? We'll all pass laws that say you can't say that. That'll teach them.
Now, I want to say here, yes, it is very odd how Congress and both parties, because they all have APAC, say it with me, they have APAC, sitters. They have the sitters, the sitters. And so when you have these politicians writing these laws, saying what you can and cannot say, it does affect a lot of people, because now, oh no, we got a whole new wave of minefields to go through now. And I hate doing that. But the answer is yes. Free speech is under attack. Free speech has always been under attack in the USA. I mean, we have if there's one thing, there's a couple things that Harlan's media is known for. We support citizen ballot initiatives. We support free speech, and we support third parties. And free speech is a very serious issue to me, because I know what it's like to be silenced. It's not fun. And, I got a lot of pushback from some people tier 2 saying, well, gee, Kit, if this content creator or if this person who's on the right gets censored, would you help them? Yes, I would. Yeah. Yeah, I would. All right. This is a little bit off topic, but yeah, I would. I don't want anyone to ever go through what I went through. When RBN and Do Dissidents had some troubles with their channels, they reached out to me. And I did help them out. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad that they were able to get back on their feet and do what they need to do. Now, that was like way back in 2023, right? But I'm glad that they're doing good. But I don't want anyone to go through it. It is a very frightening and mentally stressful situation. So yes, I would help. Because if one voice gets silenced, we all get silenced. And you know what? When I look at a channel getting demonetized or terminated for wrongful reasons, and I don't care, they could be in that Sam Cedar crowd. They could be a Trumper or libertarian. When someone gets silenced, I know, holy crap, that's me. Because I've gone through it more than once. And I don't wish that on anyone. And I'm being very serious here. I don't wish that on anyone. Continuing on, though, they had a little bit more in their conversation. Is Trump MAGA? Or I better be careful how to say it. MIGA, because you know what? You two might misinterpret what I'm saying. So you know what? Is Trump MAGA or MIGA? I'll let you decide. Well, let's go ahead and play this video here.
Ironic.
Hold on, let's play it. Rewind it.
Just so ironic to examine this happening under a Trump administration when Trump ran, the entire thing was they kept saying he was Adolf Hitler. They kept saying he was anti-Semitic. It wasn't true. They looked through every possible venue to get this man dismissed because, you know, he can't run for president. He's this, he's that. And now he's allowing his administration to put into place laws to condemn the very people that got him into the office on behalf of the people who tried to keep him out.
Well, Miriam Adelson is going to get her
neocon-
money's worth. That's for dang sure. Right. And so I always think back to one of the most awesome moments in political history, which was Trump on stage in the first debate rounds in the primaries in 2015, probably, with Jeb Bush on stage. And Trump says, those are all their donors in the audience. And I couldn't get any because it's only seats for donors. And I don't want your money. I don't need your money.
I want to pause here, too, because I think he's referencing the first Republican primary debate in 2016, where Trump gave it all away. And I'm surprised it flew over a lot of people's heads, because I'm going to rewind this part because it is rather important. But remember, you know, Trump used to be a Democrat donor. OK, Trump putting on this face of I don't want your donation money. No, he does. He wants the money. He's all about the dollars. But I'll never forget during the first Republican primary debate, Trump said, I give these people money and they do what I say, because that's when the moderator asked about money in politics, and Trump said, I give these people money and they do what I say. These people being the politicians. And when the moderator asked, how many of you have taken money from Donald Trump, majority of the Republican contenders in the 2016 Republican primary race raised their freaking hands. Side note, Trump used to be a Democrat. I know, I keep on reminding all of you about that, but it's important. So when Trump gave money to Democrat politicians, you think they said, okay, Trump, thank you for the money. Bye. No, he gave them money and now they will do what he says. Okay. That's what happened. Why do you think Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton were buddies with them? Because he gave them MONEY, 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 money.
Adelson is going to get her money's worth. That's for dang sure. Right. And so I always think back to one of the most awesome moments in political history, which was Trump on stage in the first debate rounds in the primaries in 2015, probably, with Jeb Bush on stage. And Trump says, those are all their donors in the audience. And I couldn't get any because it's only seats for donors. And I don't want your money. I don't need your money. And it was such a slap in the face moment. And that was maybe it was the same Trump. Maybe it was all an act. I don't know. But
it was all an act. Listen, Trump is a professional in the media space. I mean, the man's been in the media for years, be it in the newspapers, radio, and television. And then, of course, when the World Wide Web came out, okay? When the internet became what it was, Trump knew how to use it. Trump knew how to organize with it. Trump didn't care. I mean, hell, he did a debatable funny. He did a video in which Rudy Giuliani dressed up as a woman and Trump was acting like a horn dog on him. I mean, seriously. I mean, I think it's impossible to embarrass Trump because he's done a lot of crazy, stupid things. Probably his only not only redeemable action. He's been in media. I mean, hell, he helped Macaulay Culkin's character Kevin in Home Alone 2. Helped him point out where the lobby was at. And you know what? I have to give Trump this. He did make one of the episodes of Top Gear America Top Gear pretty hilarious because he insulted all three of the hosts, which again, my opinion on American Top Gear is it should never come into existence. Perhaps maybe this is why the timeline is screwed up.
Seats for donors and I don't want your money. I don't need your money. And it was such a slap in the face moment. And that was maybe it was the same Trump. Maybe it was all an act. I don't know. But that if like that energy is long gone.
It's gone.
And I mean, I'm optimistic about some of the things that are being done right now, but a lot of people are right on the money that Biden, whoever was behind Biden, crashed so much, so intentionally, so obviously, that it's hard not to wonder if that wasn't an intentional setup to lay the groundwork for Trump to get a whole bunch of easy wins, right? Because now Trump is coming in and Elon and him are doing all these easy wins that, yes, they are good at face value. And a lot.
This is the same Ian Carroll who said, you know, don't worry about what's going on in Gaza. Didn't he make a lot of videos talking about the crisis and genocide in Gaza? Or am I misremembering things now? Because maybe my brain likes to play tricks on me.
A lot of them are critical to have done, but they aren't even moving us back past the baseline in some instances. And in some instances, they're actually creating a major void where, oh, we don't need all these bureaucrats to work this job. We should replace them with AI. Like, we don't need all these people to do these jobs. We got technology that can take this over. And this is where the people on the internet that have been sort of ostracized for a long time talking about technocracy and about how we're walking closer and closer to this digital surveillance state. It's never been a popular take because it goes against both parties. But they've been sounding the alarm on Trump for a long time. And I'm not ready to say that they're necessarily right, but I am ready to say that everyone should be paying attention to this.
Yes, everyone should be paying attention. Everyone should be paying attention indeed. But now hold on. There's a little bit more to this. There's a lot more to this here because look, Trump and his administration clearly have, a lot of things surrounding him. Trump clearly had a pathway to the White House. Okay. And let's look what was working against the Biden-Harris administration. There was a lot of things in which Joe Biden, either his campaign or his staff or whoever was running the Democrats in 2024 really must have thought that they had it in the bag, or I don't know, perhaps they thought people really hated Donald Trump. But when you have such a cringe and failure of a system where, there was a possible way in which Donald Trump could have lost against Joe Biden if, and only if Joe Biden actually, implemented and used his political power with the Democrats. But as we have said, we could what if that scenario as much as we want, because what are the facts about Joe Biden and the Democrats? Joe Biden clearly was not mentally sound in the head. Joe Biden was not all there. Joe Biden was not able to function because he was never, ever able to in the first place. Who was running the White House? Nobody. And Bernie Sanders, AOC, and a lot of the vote blue, no matter who people, formed a shield wall around him, trying to think that all of us were not smart enough to really see through the fact that Biden was deteriorating before the American people. So now you have Trump come in. And yes, with the actions of Biden and the failure of that first debate between Trump and Biden, I mean, hell, I think even maybe Trump kind of, sort of, maybe, possibly, theoretically felt sorry for Biden because he looked like a senile old man there. Trump had an easy win. And then, of course, you have Kamala Harris and her terrible, piss-poor campaign. And now Kamala losing to Trump comes into office. But now there is this concern of, okay, now that Trump's in, what's going to change? Because the war in Gaza is still ongoing. We have a very questionable economy right now, folks, that I'm very scared of right now because things are not looking cash money with these tariffs, okay? And the thing is, well, I'm not invested in the stock market. Shout out to my lovely fiends out there that aren't in the stonks. But the problem is that when Wall Street falls, who bails them out? When the banks fall, who bails them out? And this could all be happening under Trump. I want to play another video here because now they bring in adult entertainment here, okay? Now, nothing is being shown here, YouTube. Nothing's being shown here. They're talking about it. Big difference. Just want to get that straight before YouTube says, oh, did you show that?
It is subversive in every way, not just politically and blackmail, but also just culturally and dividing families and dividing what makes the soul of America.
And they've intentionally introduced it everywhere. And there is I'm sorry, but a direct corollary from when they took the Bible out of the classroom. That was all very intentional. Understand, you should go back and learn in history who pushed for that to happen. You have the 60s generation. The reason the CIA was doing this was because they wanted to crush Christian culture. I mean, explicitly, there's a guy What is his name? I think
Don't forget in the 60s, they were trying to subvert and destroy all the activists and anti-war movements. I mean, the reason why like all these activists and protesters suck now is because of the gut check that happened in the 60s and 70s. I mean, a lot of key players and organizations were gutted or infiltrated and destroyed. Okay? For control. Control. But it's not only just for the anti-war and people on the left, it was on the right too. Okay, why do you think there's a genocide happening in Gaza right now? Why do you think there's people on the left and right calling it out, saying, hey, this has got to stop. Hey, we got to stop this war in Ukraine. Hey, we got to stop these wars. And yet they're being silenced is because here's the thing. The reason why nothing's being done is because a lot of these groups and organizations that did have a lot, because it didn't seem like there was like that more of an umph of an anti-war movement. And now what we got is a little kitten with a pink pussy hat. Meow.
I think it's Al Goldstein. You gotta pull up this Wikipedia, Skylar. If you could pull up Al Goldstein on Wikipedia, explicitly said, like, we created pornography because we
Yes.
hate Christ. This is the literal quote. It's so crazy to read this. Here it is. It's quote, the only reason that Jews are in pornography is that we think that Christ sucks. Catholicism sucks. We don't
Wait a minute. Hold on. The adult entertainment world has a lot of people in it, okay? And see, this is like huge paintbrush. No.
don't believe in authoritarianism. Pornography thus becomes a way of defiling Christian culture, and as it penetrates to the very heart of the American mainstream and is no doubt consumed by those very same wasps, its subversive character becomes more charged, end quote. I mean, that is just unbelievable. Like, whoa. Right? It's
100%.
like, take it to the bank. We created pornography because we hate Christ. And it's on Wikipedia. This is not like a conspiracy theory. And so this guy says this, and you go to yourself, okay, everything that is happening is antichrist, right? So we know that as Catholics, you keep your families together. You're supposed to save your virginity. We don't believe in birth control. Everything that's happening now is counter to Christ culture.
Yep.
It's literally anti-Christ. Okay.
Now, again, there's a lot of things to be said about the adult entertainment world, and especially how a lot of us are just constantly bombarded with it. I mean, my goodness, X and all these other social media platforms just seem to be having all that stuff up there. But see, the thing is, the internet being as it is, it's going to be an environment for all sorts of depravity and evil. And the issue is there's always that concept of control. And what have we learned, especially with social media, or when you give away your information to maybe a platform and they sell it to third-party organizations? They're following your buying and emotional and social behaviors. So what you buy financially, what you look at, how you socially feel about certain, I don't know, videos or articles, or images, all that kind of stuff. It's all about control. And the thing is, are we being led like sheep to the slaughter? Are we going to bovine university? Yeah, an argument can be said. Yes, we are. We are being controlled. I mean, there's ever this larger embrace of AI, artificial intelligence, and now you have Boston Dynamics and Elon Musk Tesla making robots that are moving like humans, jumping like humans, doing labor like humans, controlling things like humans. And you know something? That's not cash money. That's very frightening. And everybody should be on alert, keeping your heads on a swivel about that. And then, of course, we have the worry about free speech. We have the worry about our political system. And while I want to pull up a little bit more of this because there's a little bit more of the conversation between Ian Carroll and Candace Owens. I want to play just one more segment of this. I want everyone to understand that the threat to free speech is very real because we have to call out the systems of control. But the one thing the systems of control don't want is to hear you speak. Now, again, I have my questions about Ian Carroll. I do. I truly do. I do have my questions because, somehow he comes up out of the blue. But you know what? Hey, I'm not going to bring that up right now. I won't, right? But I think it is important to remember to always look and question things as you should all the time, every time. So let's go ahead and first pull this up here. I just want to pull up this video here, and we'll just play it just for a little bit. Just one more segment, one more clip.
For there not to be campaigns targeting Bobby than for there to be something targeting Bobby. You would be a fool to think that there are not blackmail operations targeting him and trying to get control of him, as they have done to every Kennedy in the history of Kennedys. So that the totality of the evidence that there is some layer of control, which is not a new thought. That's not some breaking news. It's the breaking news was that the greatest unforced error in the history of, like, I mean, I'm being facetious, but like House and Habit's unforced error here is out of control. Like, A, you didn't need to start this drama. B, you didn't need to keep it going. And then C, you didn't need to like do every single thing she's done since then has just felt more and more like she's not being honest about what her real role is here.
Right. And I don't know. I was hoping she would just come forth and say, I was drunk last night and it was stupid, but she just keeps going. So I don't think we can just blame it on the alcohol. You know what I mean?
Although she started blaming other people for their alcohol consumption,
which was very vitriolic. Stuff that she was doing to Denise was wrong, and I pointed that out to her. But I do want to make sure people understand, because you can go 1,000 different ways. You can go Real Housewives. You can go fight. With the fights between. None of that really matters, other than to state that there is very serious allegations about RFK Jr. and the emails that we have received. And I'm just like you, where I want to be very careful, because you don't want to just be putting out things that don't have any heavy consequence, because then you're actually hurting him. And we all believe in this, like, Make America Healthy Again campaign. Exactly.
Despite all their efforts, you can't make America healthy again, because that sugary food is all in us. I mean, look at the labels when you go to the grocery stores. You'll notice that there's sugar, that white powder. I mean, we're addicted to it.
But also, no one willingly hangs out with Rabbi Shmuley. And I think that that is something that the entire world can agree on.
Yeah.
And the allegations, I'm getting emails from people that worked with him at Children's Health Defense, which was the big eye opener for me. I absolutely love that organization that he ran, and it became the reason that I didn't vaccinate my children. But the allegations are all the same. So what came from Jessica Reed Krause's mouth about what he's got in the closet is the same as what's coming from people that worked with him on Children's Health Defense, the same as people who were a major part of this iteration of the MAGA movement. And I am concerned that I actually believe he's compromised. I'll just come right out and say that. And I'm not saying that because I dislike him. I'm saying that because I dislike politics, and I just have to be honest with people that he is going to be limited in what he can do, because there is a lot of sexual blackmail there.
Yeah. And the thing, I don't know if you've seen Brett Weinstein's recent episodes, but he's been doing a couple of long podcasts, 2 hours plus lately, digging into one in particular a couple of days ago was a really lucid look at.
Now, looking at RFK Jr.'s skeletons, I mean, let's face it, the man has a lot of blackmail. But the thing is, is RFK Jr. being blackmailed? Well, there's a big question here and there to ask. We did a segment about it earlier this week on Hardlands Media. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's about RFK Jr. that is in the public. And here's the thing that some of my viewing audience members have pointed out. See, blackmail is only successful when it's still secret. So again, all speculation, allegations, accusations. But how many stories have we talked about for politicians that have that skeleton, that rumor around them? Because again, no one in DC or Hollywood is squeaky clean.
The different layers of what blackmail can actually be. I think a lot of Americans are just now starting to conceptualize of blackmail in the last 5 years. And a lot of Americans still think of blackmail as just Jeffrey Epstein or nothing. And that is not the nature of this thing. And Brett pointed out very astutely that a lot of blackmail in the political arena actually appears as friendship, probably. As in, if you're a wild partier back in your day, or you have sexual proclivities or whatever it is, and you do something stupid, and your friend comes to you and is like, dude, what did you do? That's a huge mistake. We shouldn't have done that. Like, look, I'll help you cover that up. I'll help take care of this and make sure I'll protect you from this and make sure it never affects your campaign. You just keep doing you, and I've got your back, right?
That's not how it works, but okay, there is that, and then there's like, I'll help you cover this up, but I'm gonna need a favor from you very soon.
And that is like, oh, thank gosh, I have such a good friend. Feels so good to have such a good friend. And then, 3 months later, that friend comes to you and is like, hey, listen, I really think that we shouldn't hire this person. Like, it wouldn't be a good move. And you say, well, I'd like them. And it's like, yeah, we shouldn't hire them. And we have a discussion about it, and then they leave the room, and then you think,
and then like, hey, then of course be like, listen, when I say we don't hire them, we don't hire them. Do you want me to show everybody where the body is at? All right, that's Evil Kid coming out.
huh, that person, I can't go against that person. That person is my closest confidant, and they know things about me that no one else does. How could I guess I shouldn't hire that person, right? And and that's just one example. There's so many layers of how blackmail can appear in lots of different ways. And I think that Bobby does have a strong soul, and he does have that Kennedy mindset of his lineage and what he stands for. And so I doubt he would be able to be blackmailed.
I mean, my goodness, we did a video covering when Mike Tyson was interviewing RFK Jr. about the assassination of his father. Now, that video is on other platforms that have Mike Tyson's podcast, except it's not on YouTube's anymore. I wonder why.
In an overt, like, do this or else way, or at least not at first. But at first, maybe the blackmail is small. Maybe it's just simple things. And you never know what kind of leverages people get over politicians. And eventually you wind up with Rabbi Shmuley hanging out with you and declaring anti-Semitism the greatest health crisis in America today,
absurd,
or whatever it is.
Absurd. And
so I want to stop here. So what are the takeaways? So first of all, I listen, I'm all for listening to engaging conversation. I'm all for listening to the talk. But look, free speech, yes, it's under attack. Oh God, yes, it is. The 2024 election cycle. Let's face it. The Democrats ran a piss poor campaign, and Trump had a pathway in. But now everything that's happening, now Trump is the commander in chief. Like, it's all on him now. And I am ever hopeful, because here's the thing. I won't be like Rush Limbaugh. Okay? Democrat, Republican, Green, or Libertarian. You see, I want our leaders to succeed, because when we're in an airplane, like let's say we're in a Boeing airplane, we want to make sure that plane lands safely. It doesn't fall apart in the air. It doesn't crash land, doesn't do anything. You want that plane to go from point A to point B, and you want your United States president, U.S. senator, U.S. House representative, state senator, state representative, governor, mayor, alderman, commissioner, all that kind of. You want them to succeed, because guess what? They're the leader. They're representing you. As soon as they fail, guess what? We all fail. And it looks like we're in a wave of failure right now by the two-party system, as they get richer, as they screw us over, as they censor us, as they control the media. And these are things that we know. And the real counter to this is not by falling into electoral politics, citizen ballot initiatives, being a community leader in your own backyard, and actually building a real movement for change. Because we've heard all the talking. Now the action comes down to you and what you're going to do.